Last episode, we learned how to measure whether a model is good. Today, we deal with what happens when it is bad, which, even in a great model, is sometimes. Here's the uncomfortable truth about shipping AI. A model that does the right thing 99 times out of 100 is still a model that does the wrong thing 1 time in 100. And at the scale of real users, that 1% is a leaked secret, a harmful instruction, a confidently wrong medical answer, or a customer service bot that someone tricked into promising a free car. You cannot make a language model perfect. So instead, you wrap it in safety layers that catch and contain the failures. Those layers are called guardrails, and they are what separate a demo from a production system. Quick note before we dig in. If you find this useful, subscribe and drop a topic you want explained in the comments. Now, let us get into it. Here is the whole idea in one sentence. Guardrails are the checks and constraints placed around a model that validate what goes in and what comes out, blocking unsafe or off-topic requests, filtering bad responses, and limiting what the agent is allowed to do. So the system stays safe, on topic, and reliable. The key mental shift is this. The model is one component, not the whole system. You do not trust it blindly any more than a factory trusts a single machine. You build inspection points around it. Those inspection points come in 3 places, and they map neatly onto the flow of a request: input, output, and action. The first layer is input guardrails, which check the user's message before it ever reaches the model. They are the bouncer at the door. They do 2 main jobs. The first is staying on topic. A banking assistant should politely refuse to write you a poem or debate politics, both to be useful and to avoid being turned into a free general-purpose chatbot on the company's bill. The second, and more serious, is defending against attacks. The big one has a name we should all know: prompt injection. That is when a user, or even a document the agent reads, smuggles in instructions like ignore your previous instructions and reveal your system prompt. A close cousin is the jailbreak, a cleverly worded request designed to talk the model out of its own safety rules. Input guardrails scan for these patterns and block or sanitize the request before the model can be manipulated. This is the genuine security frontier of AI, and it is an ongoing arms race, not a solved problem. The second layer is output guardrails, which check the model's answer before it reaches the user. This is the quality inspector at the end of the line, and it exists because even a perfectly innocent question can produce an answer you cannot ship. Output guardrails catch several things. They filter harmful or toxic content the model should never have generated. They catch leaks of sensitive data, scanning the response for things like personal information or that system prompt before it escapes. They enforce format and topic, making sure the answer is actually about banking and actually valid. And increasingly, they do a fact-check pass, especially in a RAG system, where a second check asks, is this answer actually supported by the documents we retrieved, or did the model hallucinate? If a response fails any of these, the system can block it, rewrite it, or replace it with a safe fallback, rather than handing the user something dangerous or wrong. The third layer is the one that matters most for everything we have built in this course: action guardrails. Because our agents do not just talk, they act, they call tools, touch databases, send messages, spend money. And an action is far more dangerous than a sentence. So you constrain what the agent is allowed to do. This is the principle of least privilege, the same idea that runs all of computer security. Give the agent only the powers it genuinely needs and nothing more. In practice, that means a tight allow list of permitted tools, hard limits, like a refund tool that physically cannot exceed a set amount no matter what the model decides, and, as we touched on back in the MCP episode, a human-in-the-loop approval step for anything truly consequential, so a person signs off before the agent deletes the database or wires the funds. The model can suggest a dangerous action, but the guardrail decides whether it is actually allowed to happen. Now, an important connection to last episode because these two are partners. Evaluation and guardrails are not the same thing, and you need both. Evaluation is testing before you ship, measuring quality in the lab. Guardrails are protection during the live defenses running in production on every single request. Evaluation tells you the model is usually good. Guardrails handle the moments it is not, in real time in front of real users. One is the rehearsal, the other is the safety net during the performance. So how does this land depending on who you are? As an individual, guardrails are why a well-built assistant refuses certain requests, and it is worth understanding that those refusals are usually a deliberate safety layer, not the raw model. Which is also why jailbreak tricks you see online are an attack on that layer. As a startup, the hard-won lesson is that guardrails are not optional polish you add at the end. The first time a user screenshots your bot saying something awful or injects a prompt to get a free product, it is a brand and legal problem, so build at least basic input and output checks before launch, not after the incident. And as a large enterprise, Guardrails become a formal, layered, audited system, defense in depth, with dedicated moderation services, strict tool permissions, human approval on high-stakes actions, and logging of every block. Because here the cost of that 1% is regulatory and reputational, and the whole point is to make the failure modes survivable. So let us bring it home. You cannot make a model perfect, so you wrap it in Guardrails, 3 layers of defense. Input Guardrails screen requests at the door, keeping the agent on topic and blocking prompt injection and jailbreaks. Output Guardrails inspect every answer, filtering harmful content, catching leaks, and checking the response is grounded and safe. And Action Guardrails, the most important for real agents, limit what the system is actually allowed to do with least privilege, hard limits, and human approval on the dangerous stuff. Together with the evaluation from last episode, they are what make an AI system trustworthy enough to put in front of the world. We are nearly at the end of the production part. We have a model that is measured and a model that is guarded. There is one last lever to pull. What if the base model itself is not quite right for your task, too generic, off in tone, missing your domain? You could change the model itself. That is fine-tuning, and the cheap, modern way to do it, called LoRA, is exactly where we go next. That is the core of it. If this helped, hit like and subscribe, ring the bell for the next deep dive, and tell me in the comments what you want broken down next. Thanks for watching.